on three. 1, 2, 3.
Jets.
Green gonna win, that's all I'm saying.
Let's go to work. Let's go to work. Let's go to work.
What happened? We taking this. Win on three. 1, 2, 3. Win.
Welcome to Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. Sam Darnold and the New York Jets entering Gillette Stadium for their Week 17 matchup with the New England Patriots. The Jets in Foxborough today on a 2-game winning streak. Eric Allen inside the beautiful BetMGM studio. Snow-capped scene behind me. The snow is falling here. Right now in Foxborough, we haven't seen that, but the Jets are north today, and they are a hot ball club. After losing 13 consecutive games to start the season, they've won 2 in a row, and today, against the Patriots, they can become the second team in National Football League history to start the season with 13 losses and then finish with 3 consecutive wins. That speaks to the character inside that locker room. Yes, it's been a very disappointing season for the green and white, but we all can celebrate the new year. Happy New Year to you and yours out there. It's 2021, and this is kind of the moment where the 2020 season will end at about 4 p.m. this afternoon, and then an exciting offseason lies ahead for the Jets. Their draft positioning cannot change today as far as that first pick in the first round. They have 2 picks in the April's draft. They are locked in at number 2 overall. And on the other side of the coin, the New England Patriots, they are in an odd position. 6-9. If they lose today, if the New York Jets beat the Patriots, they will have double-digit losses for the first time since Bill Belichick's first year at the helm in New England, 2000. Let's bring in Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman. Anthony, a great opportunity for the New York Jets to end a really tough campaign on a high note.
Absolutely. This team is playing loose. They're playing confident. It's amazing what a couple wins can do for any team, let alone the Jets. And to go into the last game finale versus a division rival versus a team that you haven't had a lot of success on with in the past, really, since Tom Brady was in the helm. Before Tom Brady was in the helm, this is a unique opportunity for all these players to finish strong. And I'm expecting to see a team come out, fight just like they have every single week, give great effort. And, fight this team to the end, where on the flip side, you look at the Patriots, a lot of disarray, a lot of injuries, a lot of question marks and a lot of questions towards, what this team can be moving forward because of the failures they've had, throughout the season.
Eric, what an odd sight it is for us. You guys battled the nemesis for so long, and then we have to go back to 2008, the last time the New York Jets won a game in the regular season against the Patriots. That was a 34-31 classic. Brett Favre was playing quarterback, and the quarterback for the New England Patriots that day was Matt Castle. But the Patriots 6-9, and after getting to 6-6 with a thumping of the Chargers on the West Coast, Eric, this team has gotten blown out by an average of 28-8 their last 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, what a great opportunity for the Jets to end their season on a 3-game winning streak by beating their foe in the Patriots. The Patriots are struggling right now offensively. They don't really have an identity. They've struggled all season. The Jets, they're finding their stride at this point in the season right now, and it's great to see. It's great to see Sam Darnold come into the groove. The offensive line do such a great job of creating run lanes and providing protection for the quarterbacks. The receivers have been healthy for the last 5 games pretty much. And so it's nice. It's nice to see the Jets coming together. It'd be great to see Sam Darnold come out here with a great performance and end the season on a high note.
Anthony, I'm going to skip around a little bit with my storylines and go to Sam Darnold. He's looking for his first victory against the Patriots in 2 starts to date against the Pats. He's completed less than 50% of his passes with 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he's been sacked 5 times. So, listen, I know the uniform's the same, but the players are different on that side. But for Sam Darnold, you know how much this one means to him.
Absolutely. Getting the monkey off your back. You're right. Listen, we can't compare. Those statistics are terrible, but when you look at the teams he's gone against in the past, nowhere does it even remotely resemble anything that's on the field today. They do have some players, obviously, that are key, that have been there for a long time, that have done some good things. They do have some players like Jackson on the corner at the cornerback position, who's had a phenomenal year. But because of injuries and opt-outs, I mean, this team is just not the same. And, Sam didn't get that chance to play against them in the first meeting this year. Jets played extraordinarily well at home. Some would say they should have won that game, but they were able to come through. But that is a much different Patriot team from that game to now. Offensively, they haven't been able to do much moving the ball at all. And defensively, it's been hard to stop teams. They've been blown out pretty much. I mean, the Bills blew them out. A lot of things to draw on for Sam to feel confident about this game. In particular, Eric Cohen was talking about having his receiving core there now, practicing with these guys, getting a better, feel about what they're good at, what they're not, and just, in the game process, just having that trust will go a long way in helping Sam in this football game today.
Eric, we talk about Sam, what he's been doing a good job of late. His numbers have not been gaudy, but he's protected the football. That's a career-high 3 games with no turnovers. And does it speak to – it took the Jets way too long to figure out the winning formula this season. We all know that. But it seems like they found it here the last 2 weeks, a relentless defense, and they're getting just enough offensively where they are coming out on top. And Sam Darnold continues to say, hey, and every drive with a kick. He sounds like your former head coach, guys, Herm Edwards. He always used to walk around the facility at Weeb Eubank Hall saying, make sure it's an extra point, a field goal, or a punt.
Absolutely. And I think that's very important for Sam to continue to take care of the football, play the field position game, let that defense go out there and get some stops, force some punts, and play the slow game. But also, you would like to see Sam take that next step. And I think that he has the capability, he has the accuracy. I think it's about time to start striking the ball down the field, giving him an opportunity to let it loose. He's shown that he can take care of the football these last 3 games. It would be great to end the season on 4 games without a turnover, throwing the ball in the air, running the ball well, just having a great showing offensively. And I think the Jets are prepared for that. They've done a great job of playing complementary football these last couple of games. Why not take it to the next level and take it to the Patriots?
Anthony, let's go to the other side of the ball. We just saw that graphic there. What do you point to as far as the Jets' improvement defensively the last 2 weeks under Frank Bush?
I think it just comes down to just keeping things simple, right? Understanding, play the coverage that's being called, get to the football, hustle, have good pursuit and effort at the line of scrimmage, and, don't make critical mistakes. Don't let the ball go over your head. And when the opportunities are there to present themselves to make a turnover, strip, or get an interception, go take it. I mean, this is a defense the last 2 weeks that have averaged 300 yards giving up on defense, which would be phenomenal if that's something you could go across the entire season of the NFL. It's something to build on. It does absolutely pursue confidence across the board. And really, let's give credit to guys stepping up that normally haven't had a lot of reps. Bryce Hager, a guy that led the team in tackles last week at the linebacker position. Neville Hewitt's been in every game, every down guy that's done a great job, who's been a top 10 tackler in the NFL. And outside of Quinnen Williams, who's had a Pro Bowl, All-Pro season, other guys have played well as also. Fatukasi's have a nice season. Guys have just shown up in the back end of the season. You want to see that. Look, these guys are playing for roster spots, not only just for the game this year, but just moving forward. It's going to be important. I expect that same kind of effort today.
Tell you what, we're looking at Gillette Stadium right now. You are watching Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. And Frankie Louvu, who always plays with his hair on fire, he looks quite warm out there today, fellas, with shorts on. I'm sure it's about 30 degrees there, but Frankie don't care. He's ready to get after whoever's playing quarterback for the New England Patriots, whether that be Cam Newton or maybe Jarrett Stidham. He's become kind of a tone setter for this team, and this team continues to play with great energy. Earlier this week, our own Olivia Landis caught up with the voice of the Jets, Bob, was choosing shoes for our latest installment of From the Broadcast Booth.
Bob, over the past couple of weeks, the Jets have been able to get their first 2 wins of the season against very competitive teams. And for the final game of the season, they will be facing off against the Patriots. What can you say about the importance of this team's final game of the season and the chances of them snagging their 3rd win?
Well, I think it's a lot to do with what they put on tape for whatever the offseason evaluation is going to be, right? I mean, the thing I've been most impressed about the last 2 weeks is how violent they've been and how controlling they've been at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And that was not something that we saw a good portion of the season. Their run defense has been okay, but their pass rush all of a sudden has emerged against teams that are trying to make the playoffs and should be playoff teams. So, to me, if you are Frankie Louvu, if you're Nathan Shepard, guys like that, they want, I would think, a roster spot next year. If you're Pat Elflein, you want to play left guard next year if you can. So those are the guys I think that I'm most interested to see this last weekend, to see if they can continue to keep the ball rolling, so that when you now go into the offseason and Joe Douglas has to look at this roster and be honest with himself about all of the boxes he needs to check, some of those guys have a resume tape in their last 3 games, look pretty impressive in terms of then saying, hey, this is a spot you don't have to worry about. You're okay here. Now you have to, maybe go elsewhere in the draft or free agency.
Well, Bob, when we look at this offense more specifically, quarterback Sam Darnold has played some of his best football over the past couple of weeks. He's thrown for 382 yards. He has 3 touchdowns, completing over 60% of his passes. How important is it for him to perform at an extremely high level for the Jets to get this win on Sunday?
Well, I mean, obviously, it begins and ends with the quarterback. It usually does. He has not turned the ball over 3 games in a row. His decision-making has been better. Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I think he will want to, especially because it's New England, Bill Belichick, he'll want to go up there and he'll want to play well, because this is, his last moment of at least recency bias to leave them with a good thought in their head before they start the evaluation process of him in the offseason as well.
Bob, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem.
You are watching Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studio. You just heard from the voice of the Jets, Bob Wischusen, who seemingly is everywhere. Last night I turned on the television on ESPN. He's calling the Texas A&M North Carolina bowl game. Then this morning I was getting COVID tested here outside the facility, and I saw Wischusen walking into the facility. So he is everywhere. Voice for all seasons, Bob Wischusen, no doubt about that. Good stuff as we bring back both Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman. Anthony, a lot of people making noise out there with their bowl performances. A lot of signal callers have played well out there. A lot of guys getting hype. I've been impressed by the way Sam Darnold has handled everything throughout this season, because he's talked about he hasn't played well enough, but over these final 2 games, when the noise has even gotten louder, he's played his best ball.
Well, he has to, because everyone's being evaluated, right? I mean, there are no handouts for anybody on this roster, and that's coaching staff across the board. Joe Douglas is obviously going to be the one guy that's, overseeing this whole process and this turnaround. And, everything will be scrutinized. The film, everything you put on tape, how you show yourself the last, half of the season is ultimately going to be important for every single player and coach and how they perform. Look, Sam's got no choice but to go out there and play the best possible game he can. Listen, in a circumstance like this, you actually like the fact that there's a little bit of pressures and things going on in the scenes, because you want to see how players react to those things. The one thing that you can say about Sam that he's done, you kind of said this earlier, is, the Jets have been in the opportunity to win football games because of the fact that they haven't turned the ball over. And that's a big part of the quarterback's position. If you don't throw an interception, you have a great chance to win, or at least get to the 4th quarter with an opportunity to win. And we've seen that. And that is proven across the league. Quarterbacks don't have to throw for 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. We would love to see it. It's helpful in wins. As a matter of fact, when you do see that, you're probably in a shootout, which is not what you want. So, any way you can manage the game properly, it's always been a kind of a bad word with quarterbacks. I think it's a great word. Managing teams and offenses. You look at the Flaccos with the Ravens, the Dilfers back in the day. These guys managed football teams and got to the pinnacle in the highest game in the Super Bowl. So those things are attributes you cannot find always, because there's always that big stats. Get the ball down, do all these crazy things, but protecting the football is key. He's done that, and that's going to be something that'll be taken seriously here moving forward.
Now we're going to jump back and forth here, but let's get to our monster matchups and start with our safety, Eric Coleman.
Today, my monster matchup is between it's a different look. Ty Johnson at running back, no Frank Gore, no LaMichael P. Ryan, so Ty Johnson will be getting the load against Adrian Phillips, the Patriots safety and leading tackler. I think that if Ty Johnson can take advantage of this matchup, he can make him miss one time. He's going to end up with a couple of long runs and a great game at the end of the day.
Ty Johnson, awesome opportunity for him. And a couple of weeks ago, guys, we saw him go for over 100 yards against the Raiders, and then he followed that up in the Jets' first win of the season against the Rams, where he made a difference in the pass game. Tough break for LaMichael P. Ryan, who unfortunately became the first Jet to test positive for COVID this year. And like Anthony mentioned, we'd be remiss here, fellas, if we didn't talk about Frank Gore just for a second. So before we get to Anthony's monster matchup, Anthony, you want to say any words about Gore and what he's accomplished throughout his career? Last week, of course, becoming the third running back in NFL history to rush for at least 16,000 yards.
Yeah, I think it was truly unique that it actually fell on 16,000 yards. He's not going to catch anybody ahead of him. That might be a calling card for him to move on. You heard Frank say this, that, he's not sure what his career will be. He's an older back. Where does he fit in? He clearly wants to win. He's got a drive. He's got an effort, but your body does cheat on you sometimes. And he knows that. And he's been healthy throughout the season, but to go through the offseason, go through those things, it's really tough and mentally tough. But he's been fantastic. He's been a great leader. I think a lot of players learned a ton from him. He was a great sign, and ultimately he'll go down as one of the best all-around backs to play in the NFL, and he deserves that. And that 16,000 numbers on the line, on the button, looks really clean. I don't know if I want to mess that up, so I don't want to push him into anything, but that would be a cool calling card if he did leave the game after the season.
I agree. It would be fitting. And what Gore did for this team, a lot of things behind the scenes that folks will never see, but I thought it was very cool in their first win this year, 3rd and 6, and they needed a conversion to milk away those final seconds. Gore is the guy sitting there telling Sam, hey, throw it to me, and he picks up exactly 6 yards on the dot. A lot of symmetry there. So let's go to Anthony now for his monster matchup.
Well, listen, I'm going to stick in the secondary because just like Adrian Phillips, Anthony's the leading tackler. J.C. Jackson is one of the best corners in the NFL, and he got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. He's second in the NFL with 8 interceptions, and he's really been a ball hawk the entire season. Sam Darnold needs to find where he is on the field. That's going to be a huge matchup. You don't want to just force balls to his size because, outside of pass defending, he will grab it, and he will be tight coverage on the receivers. He's very good in man-to-man coverage, and, he's very sneaky at making those jumps, playing the football well, and those are dangerous attributes, and he gets it. And that's kind of the next DB in the tree of Belichick's DBs that now has risen up, and he's going to be good for a long time. So that matchup between Darnold and Jackson will be important in this game, and as Darnold has not had any interceptions in the past couple games, being smart around Jackson will be his best key.
Yeah, so let's go to our defensive back. Eric, will the Patriots continue to dial up the heat? That's what we saw in the first game. We saw a lot of man coverage. Rashad Perriman, 5 catches, over 100 yards for his first and only time as a Jet here in 2020. He had 2 touchdowns. Jameson Crowder saw a lot of defenders, double coverage often. But Denzel Mims, 4 catches, 62 yards against the Patriots in that first meeting. Do you anticipate a lot of the same where the Patriots going to try to dial up the heat and they'll play man on the outside, even though an elite player like Stephon Gilmore continues to be out of the lineup for them?
Yeah, the Patriots have always had the belief in, we're going to do what's best. What beat you last time? What have you struggled with in your past? They're going to go back and watch the film and see, what the Jets have struggled against. And Sam Darnold has not been the best against the blitz. So I do expect them to dial it up. Bill Belichick is great at developing players, whether they'll be young guys, free agents, coming up. So he's going to give that next guy the opportunity. He's going to try to find that next J.C. Jackson, that next Stephon Gilmore in that secondary. And the way that you do that, put him out there. put him in positions where he has to go out there and make plays. And what better opportunity? You got the last game of your season. You're not going to the playoffs. This is a tryout for next season. And I think that they will bring some pressure. I think they'll mix things up and, do what Bill Belichick has always done against the Jets. And the Jets will be prepared for it this week.
All right, for my monster matchup, first let's take a look at Jameson Crowder's numbers for the year. 55 receptions. He became the third Jet in franchise history last week with a touchdown pass and a touchdown reception in the same game. When he's been on the field, he's been really good, and a lot of teams just try to take him out of the lineup because they're trying to force you to the outside, and we'll probably continue to see that, I would imagine. That's Bill Belichick's calling card. What do you do best? I'm going to take that away from you. But I'm going to go to the other side of the ball for my monster matchup. Neville Hewitt, who's had a tremendous year at the inside linebacker position against the Patriots running backs. Sony Michel popped on the radar last week for the Pats, but it's a cast of thousands there in the backfield, led by, let's not forget about quarterback Cam Newton, of course. If he is indeed starting again, he's got 12 rush touchdowns for the New England Patriots, but they'll try to run the football. Last week, Anthony, the Patriots combined for less than 100 yards passing, playing both Newton and Stidham. After 2 decades of watching Tom Brady throw the ball with so much precision and so much production, this is amazing what we've seen in New England this year.
Yeah, it's just been a lack of weapons and really just, they've had injuries up front in their offensive line. Cam Newton has been really up and down and rocky in the passing game. And Stidham in his minimum performances this year has not been able to really catch fire. Look, Harry, the receiver, Burr, these guys haven't really stepped up and lived up to the expectations. They lack a really true receiving tight end. Jacoby Myers is truly their only weapon. And look, if you're a defender or you're planning a defense around the Patriots, you want to stop him in this football game. Take him away and force someone else offensively to beat you. No Damian Harris in the backfield. You do have James White. J.J. Taylor's been a little bit of a bright spot for them, a little bit of a firecracker, short, quick, speedster kind of guy. May get some more action in this game versus the Jets, someone you're going to have to deal with, running the ball and also catching the ball. But let's be honest. You can really hone in and take certain things away to really hone on to this offense and really stop them for some of the things they want to do.
Cam Newton, who we're watching right now on the field at Gillette Stadium, 3-0, his career mark against the New York Jets as a starter, but 2 of them came with the Carolina Panthers. And remember, in these teams' first meeting back in November, the Jets held a 27-17 second-half lead, unable to put it away. As Anthony just mentioned, Jacoby Myers, he went off. I believe his final numbers were 12 receptions for close to 160 yards receiving. That can't happen again today. But you have to account for Cam Newton in the running game. They're going to try to get extra numbers by running that big quarterback who's had so much success in the National Football League. But a team in transition, a player in transition. For more on today's Jets-Patriots game, let's hear from head coach Adam Gase.
What about closing the season today against the Patriots?
Yeah, why not? It seems like about right to where, we play these guys the last week of the season and, up there, and it's going to be a challenge for us, obviously. And we got to do a good job of playing 4 quarters. And, we need to win situational football this game.
What do you take from that first meeting when you guys easily could have won that ball game, had a late lead there in the fourth quarter that got away?
Yeah, we just got to do a better job, and like I said, the situational football stuff, we lost out both in the first half and second half, at the end of those halves, and we got to do a better job in those areas. And then we got to, when we get in the red area and when we get our shots down the field, we got to be able to take them. When they get aggressive, we got to make sure that we do a good job of hitting those shots over the top.
Okay, so offensively, scouting report, you guys going to see a lot of man coverage from them again?
Yeah, they'll mix it up a little bit. They've had some injuries to where, they can't just exclusively do it like they were early in the season. But, knowing those guys, I wouldn't be surprised until we beat them, until we hurt them with it, we're probably going to see it.
And then defensively, this one's going to be played in a phone booth. They're going to try to run the football.
Yeah, we got to do a good job of stopping the run. They're going to have downhill runs. They'll be outside. They'll have some gimmick type runs where it's trap schemes and things like that. So we got to be disciplined. We can't get kind of lulled to sleep on some of their stuff because they'll have plays off plays, and we got to do a good job against play action.
You are watching Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. Eric Allen inside the BetMGM studio. A snowy day here in Florham Park, but weather looks pretty good there in Foxborough as the green and white look for the third consecutive win to end a trying season. They've showed a lot of fight throughout this whole deal, and they continue to be busy on the transaction front as we bring in Ethan Greenberg. Greens, a lot of transactions from the Jets on Saturday, including a change at the kicker position. What can we anticipate today?
That's right. So Chase Mclaughlin is the only active kicker on the Jets roster. The Jets claimed him earlier in December. Mclaughlin signed with the Bills originally last season as an undrafted free agent out of Illinois. He's had multiple stints with multiple teams in the NFL. Most recently, earlier this year, kicked for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Mclaughlin has made 78% of his field goals, 97% of his extra points. And when he got claimed by the Jets, Brant Boyer said that this is a guy that he's seen tape of and really trusts his legs. So we'll see what happens with Mclaughlin today. And, of course, Sam Ficken no longer a part of the New York Jets.
Yeah, and there's Braden Mann in the background. We just saw him as well. And Braden Mann, I believe he had 5 punts down inside the 20-yard line last week in the victory over the Cleveland Browns. So that speaks to the complementary football the New York Jets have been playing of late as they finish the 2020 campaign. It is time for All In or Not Today. Ethan, take it away.
So this is the first All In or Not Today of the 2021 year and the last one of the 2020 season. And with that being said, we have to start off with Anthony Becht as always. EA mentioned this earlier, Anthony, that the Patriots last week between Cam Newton and Jarrett Stidham combined for 78 passing yards. Last time that did not happen for the Jets, trying to contain Cam Newton and Jacoby Myers. But all in or not today, Anthony, the New England Patriots will throw for at least 175 passing yards.
Not today. I just don't see it. I mean, listen, this offense has been down all year. Cam Newton he's not throwing the ball well at all. I haven't seen anything on film that would make me think that he's going to have a big game today. We talked about the lack of weapons, and for these guys showing up have not been there. Jacoby Myers, if he does it by himself, then that's a knock on the Jets defense. They need to take him away. I think they will. So I definitely see this not happening today.
All right, and one thing to note about the Jets secondary, Bless Austin was downgraded to out yesterday with a non-COVID related illness. Eric Coleman, all in or not today. Let's head to Sam Darnold. Of course, all things lie on the quarterback every game, or most things do, should I say. And Sam Darnold, Patriots haven't been so friendly to Sam Darnold. Still looking for his first win against the Patriots, his first touchdown pass against the Patriots. So all in or not today, Sam Darnold will throw for at least 250 yards.
Ethan, man, it's the last game of the season. You don't know what the future holds. I'm going all in on this one. I think Sam Darnold unleashes it. He rips the Patriots. They're going to blitz him. He's going to make him pay. I think it's going to be a big day for Sam Darnold. He's going to show the world that he can be that elite quarterback that all of us expected him to be, and that starts today. So I'm going to be all in on Sam Darnold throwing for 250 yards.
Wow. I love it. All right. I dig it, Eric Coleman. Kicking off the new year right. That's the kind of energy we need here on Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. EA, as always, Week 17, you're playing the tiebreaker yet again. We got one all in. We got one not today. So last time the Jets played the Patriots, Week 9, Monday Night Football, Denzel Mims had 4 receptions for 62 yards. One category he has not had a single statistic in this season is a touchdown. So will Denzel Mims have his first professional touchdown today, Eric Allen? All in or not today?
All in. I'm jumping in the snow. Give me a couple snow angels while we're at it. Listen, he had an interview with Olivia Landis that's coming up here on the Adam Gase Show. CBS locally airs 11:30 here in New York, where he told Olivia that he'd really like to get his first touchdown of his professional career. It is Week 17. It is that final game. And like we've been talking about all show, fellas, the Patriots are going to come after you. They're going to pressure. And at times, you're going to have opportunities to beat man coverage. This is the kind of guy who can not only beat man coverage down the field, but I think throughout his career, you're going to see him develop into being a red zone weapon.
I love it. I love it. That's how we have to start off 2021. 2 people all in. Next year, we're keeping tabs on how well everyone does and all in or not today. All right, BetMGM, the official gaming partner of the New York Jets, is bringing fans a free New York Jets weekly pick'em contest. To enter, just sign up and make predictions on how this week's game will play out. Download the Jets app today for a chance to win an MGM Resorts trip package and free bets at BetMGM Sports. You can play for free every week. You must be 21 years or older. Restrictions do apply. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, this is the last time Fearless Predictions makes the rounds on Pregame Central presented by Pepsi. I'll kick things off. Then we'll go to Anthony Becht, Eric Coleman, and, of course, EA will take us home. So I was going in a couple different directions. I wanted to go with Denzel Mims. EA had the all in or not today, so I'm going to steer away. I'm going to go with Corey Ballantyne. I'm going to say if you have to beat the Patriots, you got to win all 3 phases, and I'm going to go Corey Ballantyne gets his first kickoff return for a touchdown as a New York Jet. Anthony Becht, what do you think about that?
I like it. Yeah, special teams. The 3rd phase, everybody forgets about. When we don't talk about it, it's a good thing, but when we can get plays like that, that'd be great. Listen, guys, I'm going with a crazy twist today. I'm not going with a player. I'm going with the team. The Jets will win their 3rd straight game today. That's a fearless pick that I feel great about. I mean, this team is playing well. The Patriots in disarray. My fearless prediction, Jets win 3 in a row, finish the season with 3 wins to end it.
I like that, AB. 3 games in a row. And to do that, Sam Darnold's going to throw for 250, as I mentioned earlier in the all-in or not today. But also, Ty Johnson's going to have 100 yards rushing. It's going to be an offensive explosion for the Jets. They get 3 in a row.
I'm going to see Anthony Becht right now, put all my chips on the table and say, the Jets not only going to win today, fellas, the Jets are going to win by double digits. That's a fearless prediction. Here you go. Fellas, we will see you for Jets Overtime, presented by Duncan here later this afternoon, and we'll have so much to discuss. But we want to thank everybody here today who's contributed. Ethan Greenberg, Olivia Landis, and of course my partners all year, Eric Coleman and Anthony Becht. But let's take a look at inactives for the final time before we get out of here. The big name, as Ethan just mentioned, Bless Austin. So you're likely going to see Lamar Jackson, undrafted free agent. I'm rooting for him today after what happened against the Raiders. He got beat in single coverage in a cover 0 blitz. That's a guy I really want to see step up and play well and finish the year on a high note. Speaking of ending the year on a high note, it's time. You can move over to the Adam Gay Show here locally in New York. Kickoff, 90 minutes away, Jets and Patriots. Jets look for the 3rd consecutive win to end the season. Meanwhile, if they do that, the New England Patriots will have double-digit losses for the first time since 2000, Bill Belichick's first year at the helm. Let's see what happens. Enjoy the game. We'll see you for Jets Overtime.